ladies! Hi classic crew! Welcome back to my first video of 2013. Today we're talking about just girly things, an absolute fallen titan in Tumblr history. Even if you know nothing about Tumblr, you've never had an account before, you come to me to watch the train wreck from a distance, you've seen images that look like this. I hope that these are grabbing you by the throat and dragging you back to a different time. Just Girly Things came back on a lot of Tumblr users' radars in 2020 when this post rightfully blew up. After 9 years, the creator of Just Girly Things came out as a lesbian in this heartfelt post with a picture of her and her fiancé. Everyone clapped. The vibes, the nostalgia, and we will make our way back around here to the present day. But I want to look at the origins, the golden age, and the lasting legacy of Just Girly Things. But before we get into it, I need to tell you a little bit about this video's sponsor, Audible. I really love audiobooks, and I've been using Audible long before they sponsored my YouTube channel. It's just such a great way to fit reading into a chaotic schedule or to keep your brain entertained while you're commuting or doing boring chores. I recently listened to Circe by Madeline Miller. You might have heard of it, because for her other book, The Song of Achilles, it's very popular with the gays, we know this. But personally, I enjoyed Circe even more. When you sign up to Audible, you'll get one free book immediately, and then you'll continue to get one free audiobook per month, and those audiobooks will be yours to keep forever, even if you end up canceling your membership. All members have access to Audible's growing Plus catalog, which features thousands of audiobooks, podcasts, Audible originals, guided fitness and meditation programs, sleep tracks for better rest, and even more. Whatever it is that you're interested in, Audible is going to have something for you. So head on over to audible.com/strangeeons or text strangeeons to 500-500 to start your 30-day free trial, get one free audiobook, and explore their Plus catalog. Now back to your regularly scheduled content. It came about when a certain type of aesthetic was very tied up with Tumblr's identity in the mainstream consciousness. Photo filters had just become a thing and no one had self-control. This galaxy print and like early meme-inspired sparkle vomit prints were all over Hot Topic. These little fucking flowers. Vans and Converse were the only acceptable shoe. I smoked to die. Sunset photos were inescapable. Everyone was trying to make things look like film photos or home movies, because I guess it was more #deep that way. Instant cameras. Oh my. Instant cameras made a massive comeback. It was kind of the beginning of that like Urban Outfitters manufactured nostalgia trend that hasn't really entirely died. These glasses, I'm pretty sure we called them hipster glasses too. Indie music was like the height of culture. Flower crowns, high-waisted denim shorts, writing deep quotes on things. Just the idea of deep quotes in general. Oh my god, Tumblr poetry. It was like legions of like Rupi Kaur level teenage writers. The vague concept of travel and like being this worldly artsy person. Starbucks drinks or like Arizona iced tea cans were huge for some reason. There was a time that saying like, oh, something is so Tumblr referred to this kind of style. Like it was synonymous with Tumblr. Even if you posted stuff like this on Instagram or some other platform, people would comment like, oh, that's so Tumblr. Oh, #Tumblr girl. Now there is no Tumblr. Now there is no more Tumblr #girl. Tumblr's identity is now completely incoherent and insane, but here, shh, it's okay, just calm, shh, look into my flower crown. Shh, look into my flower crown. I'm taking you back to a simpler time. 7 to 12... Ugh, that's disgusting, first of all. 7 to 12-ish years ago, people used Tumblr kind of the way they would use Pinterest now, but it was more personal than Pinterest, so like a little bit of Instagram. You could choose to be anonymous or not, obviously. The idea of Tumblr in the mainstream consciousness at the time was that it was about cultivating your aesthetics, about finding posts that were like #deep, nostalgic, relatable, or just pretty looking. This is why John Green was so popular. Those of you who were never in like middle school or high school from like the peak popularity of John Green books, what, like 2011 to 2014, you will never have to deal with some girl unironically trying to explain to you why Looking for Alaska is like the most literary genius, life-changing book that's ever been written. Not even on Tumblr. I'm talking real life. This was also the era of the mostly joking feud between like the aesthetic blogs and the fandom blogs, or the hipster blogs and the fandom blogs. So when you're watching my fake stories videos and I'm talking about ye old super hulock and whatnot, know that all of that stuff was going on simultaneously to all of this stuff. They were just opposite sides of the platform, which did make fun of each other very often. It's almost time for our hero, Just Girly Things, to make its entrance. But it did not emerge in a vacuum. It was very much a product of its Tumblr ecosystem and one of the many blogs that followed in the tradition of Just Little Things. Just Little Things was started in 2010, and yes, I have confirmed via the Wayback Machine that the design of it hasn't changed much since then. It ended after 9 years and 1,000 Little Things on October 15th, 2019. Just Little Things was insanely popular on Tumblr. It had over 20,000 followers after 3 days and 500,000 by 2012. And that's not a lot by some social media standards, but like, just for context, the John Green cock monologue post was originally about him celebrating having 200,000 followers in 2012, the same year that Just Little Things had 500,000 followers. And we're talking about John Green on 2012 Tumblr. 500,000 is astronomical. Just Little Things even got a book based on it in 2013. The whole concept was created by a 15-year-old girl named Nancy Vu, and it really is just painfully simple. Text, plain colored background, little thing that makes most people smile or makes people happy. You have to remember that this was back when creating a Tumblr account was like a normal thing that a well-adjusted person might consider doing. If you had an idea you wanted to make an account like this, it was a viable blogging platform that you would use for that. If someone had this idea today, they would obviously go to Instagram, but back then, Tumblr was your guy. It was at its peak of popularity, normal people used it. I really don't know what better testament there is to that than the fact that Just Little Things was so popular, because like, you really cannot get more basic, you cannot get more universal appeal. Try. You can't. It set the standard, and soon hundreds, if not thousands, of other blogs followed suit, using the just blank things formula. Some spin-offs started out using the plain color background as well, but quickly got more creative. Some used images instead. Some combined both the solid color and images, or in the cases of a lot of parodies, they used the images to completely recontextualize the meaning of the original text. And given that a lot of this was taking place on Tumblr, there were many fandom-related things. This trend easily got big enough to breach Tumblr containment, and there are examples of it that originate from other platforms, but Tumblr at the time was very much still dominating the just blank things market. Notably, the parodies at this point were not mean-spirited, none of them were really making fun of Just Little Things. It was more of like, oh, this format is super easy to reproduce and people are guzzling it down, so I guess this is how I'll do my part in the Tom Hiddleston fandom circa 2011. It was an appreciation of the original format. Which brings us finally to the most notable and enduring spin-off of Just Little Things, perhaps even better known than the original, Just Girly Things. Just Girly Things was created in November 2011, and after only 2 months, as of January 2012, it had 100,000 followers, according to this celebratory post right here, on which is signed the names of our shadowy curators of Girly Things. Who were they? What did they want? Why did they unleash this on us? Now, Just Girly Things was no Sonic for real justice. It was very hard to find anything about the lives of the girls who were curating this content behind the scenes, besides what the current sole owner Becky had said in her 2020 coming out post, so I did what any dedicated Tumblr historian would do, and I DM'd her personal Tumblr account. Because I had questions. I wanted to know what it was like running this blog that had a massive impact on internet culture and meme culture and Tumblr throughout her very formative high school years. And she told me, Just Girly Things originated when I was 15 years old. I created it with a girl I was friends with on Tumblr named Jenna. At the time it was popular to put text on photos. I saw other accounts such as Before I Die. I went ahead and created a template on Photoshop and we launched the blog. The account grew very quickly. I remember within the first day of launching the account we had over 10,000 followers. From there it grew more and more. We had so many requests in our inbox that we decided to add a few of my other Tumblr friends, Brie and Liz, to help us create posts. They all stopped posting within the first year of having the account, and I decided to continue posting for the next few years. Behind the scenes there was quite a bit of drama from the start. I was the only one making posts for the longest time, and personally I didn't find it necessary for Jenna to have access to the blog anymore. She was getting a lot of credit for the work that I was putting in, and it created a lot of tension. Jenna left the blog within, I believe, the first year of us starting it together. The other girls created a few posts here and there, but they also stopped posting. A lot of kids at my school caught on that I created this blog, and I was very embarrassed by that. I was just Girly Things, but in reality I was just a young, awkward girl who very much didn't relate to half of the things I was posting at the time. I wasn't interested in boys, I wasn't interested in makeup or any typical girly things. I just kept up with the blog because it made a lot of people happy. Only 1 month after the inception of Just Girly Things, another very similar blog popped up. The since deactivated Things Boys Do We Love seemed to target pretty much the exact same audience, only its focus was more on relationships and crushes and cute things boys do. It was inclusive of queer men in theory, but predominantly very straight. And the simultaneous massive popularity of these two blogs really cemented this kind of brand in the internet consciousness. I think a lot of people who knew of them or saw their content reposted or saw their content parodied but didn't actively follow them probably didn't even know the difference between Just Girly Things and Things Boys Do We Love. It was just, they represented this something. Almost immediately, parodies began to arise of Just Girly Things and Things Boys Do We Love, the very first of which I believe was Just Girly Things, spelled with some Z's. A few of these are slightly funny. This one in particular, I laughed at. It reaches levels of absurdity that are way beyond its years in meme culture, but these ones are outliers. For the most part, they all just feature this like inane, childish, haha period blood and tampons type of humor. Now something that is so, of course people would do this, something that just Girly Things with the Z's did was they also tagged all of their posts with the original Just Girly Things tags. So if you were to search for it on Tumblr, all of these posts would be mixed in together and you wouldn't really be able to tell what was from what unless you looked at the URLs. A great place to find these parodies from all across the internet curated in one convenient place is the Just Girly Things subreddit. Do you want to see something that's going to take decades off your life? I myself edited some Just Girly Things parodies back in the day. I believe they were Code Geass related. It was like a meme to participate in, something stupid and funny to add to your fandom's tag, the same way you'd make any other stupid memes or edits for a fandom. And then, of course, there was the Filthy Frank video.
Cheers! Do you have any pussy?
It took the already long-standing tradition of Just Girly Things parodies and catapulted it to a larger and edgier audience than ever before. There are so many Just Girly Things parodies in the world, easily more than original Just Girly Things or Things Boys Do We Love posts. The question is why? Why was this such a huge frenzy when most of these things are not even particularly clever? Yeah, there was a lot of people who memed about Just Girly Things in an innocent way, and me at like 14 making my Just Girly Things Code Geass parodies. But I think the reason that the meme was so big, that there was such a frenzy for Just Girly Things parodies, was because of that large faction of the internet who just had this like vitriolic response. It's because liking girly things is dumb and needs to be ridiculed, and also women's bodies are gross, haha tampons. There was this prime window from like 2005-ish to 2015-ish where it was just a bad idea to be a teenage girl with interests on the internet. It was during the peak popularity of Twilight. There's this massive fandom filled with young girls was very much in the mainstream, in the spotlight. But you see, if you were one of those girls who liked girl things like Twilight, girly things even, you know, YA fiction, romance books, complicated Starbucks drinks, owning popular brands or following trends, oh no, you see, that was bad. Because you must understand, young girls like them, and girls are icky, and so when they touch things with their icky little fingers, they make those things icky and bad, and now you're not allowed to like them or else you're icky and bad. And you know, for good measure, you should probably just hate them and teenage girls. For me, it's really put into perspective when I think about, like, why are these girly things treated as if they're worse than, like, Marvel movies or Supernatural? Like, there's so many bad in a fun way or just mediocre pieces of media. Why did they become worse? Because girls like them. In fact, I will argue that Twilight is better written than most Marvel movies. And it was not just men perpetrating this. In fact, the most vocal girly things bad people were pretty much always girls and women. This was the era of I'm not like other girls, me versus other girls. So in this climate, Just Girly Things was a massive target for a lot of ridicule because it was the great, all-seeing, monolithic other girls. The team behind Just Girly Things made a response to all of this widespread parodying and hatred they were getting in 2012, saying, "Important, please read. We really wish blogs making fun or copying our blog didn't exist. Honestly, our blog is not hurting anybody. If you do not like our blog, simply do not look at it. Do not talk about it, do not make comments about how bad it is or how much you hate it, because honestly, we have put months and months into making our blog perfect, and we know there are people who couldn't care less about it or don't agree with it, but there are 260,000 girls/followers who love our blog and can relate to our blog and count on us to make posts each and every day. We do not make posts, nor did we create this blog for the haters. If anyone sees posts that are rude or out of line but hasn't been posted on our blog originally, then we did not make that post. People are trying to make our blog look bad when it's a simple and happy blog that is not affecting or hurting anybody out there. We do not make posts that offend people. We make posts that make people all over the world, including ourselves, happy. Thank you for reading. Please take this message into consideration." It seems like something that was really frustrating to them at the time was that all of these blogs, some of which had featured more unsavory content, they were all using the original Just Girly Things tag, so the Tumblr tag would just be a mess. Becky told me that she found some of the parodies that she saw funny as well, but I assume that would be more along the lines of the kind of dumb, lighthearted parodies, not the ones that are just kind of weird and gross and childish and just why would you do this? And certainly not the hateful and misogynistic comments that would end up being on their posts. Things Boys Do We Love also posted a response to the haters around a year later in 2013. I'm just tired of this hate. God, if you don't like my blog, again, just leave. I'm not here to please anyone, and again, these photos are not my opinion. I just edited the photos with requests from girls and boys all around the world. I'm not saying that boys should be like this and should follow every step on this blog to have a perfect relationship. It's the opinion and things that girls and boys that make requests like. If you don't like a thing or don't do a thing, good. It wasn't my first intention anyway. If you want to take these things as advice, great. I'm happy about it. I don't care if I'm on 9gag or not. I have a good sense of humor, by the way, and I laugh with some posts, but just don't come to my blog and tell me that I'm forcing boys to be like this and giving relationships a fake image. I thought you guys were grown up. By 2015, Just Girly Things had 600,000 followers, and it seems like that was kind of the peak of it, because according to Becky, in the past 7 years it has only inched up to now a little over 611,000 followers, she said. Just Girly Things remained active throughout 2016, but posts began to decline in 2017, and it was almost completely dormant in 2019, but that was its lowest point. The 2020 coming out post marked a small comeback, and I'm happy to report that every once in a while we are still blessed with a girly thing. Something that I noticed as I was scrolling back through the Just Girly Things archive is that there's been representation of lesbian couples for many years now, and there's been support for gay rights from the very beginning. I love how it started out in like the most abstract way of like, oh, this blog supports gay rights kind of posts, to like having a little inclusion of gay couples, to like consistent and very specific inclusion of lesbian couples. The garliest thing of all. It feels very representative of like the journey of like a queer teenager to kind of coming out and like realizing who they are more and getting more confident with expressing that in their content. So I mentioned in my questions for Becky that I had kind of noticed this about the blog, and I was just curious how running this blog that is very much a celebration of like this kind of basic white girl femininity, how that informs her relationship with lesbian identity. And she told me, I came out in 2014, and that's when I started factoring more queer posts into the blog. Some of my friends caught on to the fact that I was gay simply by seeing more inclusive posts on the blog. As I became more accepting of myself, it definitely showed a lot more through the posts. For a while, I was too scared to post about quote-unquote controversial topics in fear that my followers would have a negative reaction. Ever since I came out, I decided to make the posts you see a little more personal. For example, I would do 2 posts to include both straight and gay couples. So it seems like there was originally a worry about alienating this heavily straight female audience and incorporating queer representation into this brand that was associated heavily with straight females, but the response that she got over the years was extremely positive. The mood in the 2020 Tumblr community when she made her coming out post was certainly a celebratory one. I don't know if there's very many straight people left on Tumblr these days. We're all gay. We love to see more happy, cute gay couples, etc., etc. But it went deeper than that. There was this triumph almost, this feeling like we got to claim Just Girly Things for the queers now. Just Girly Things has always been supportive of queer people, and its content has always been rooted in positivity, but still, because it's this celebration of very average girls, of basic things, it's something that a lot of people who grew up queer felt excluded by. I found this comment on a Reddit thread talking about Becky's coming out post, and I found it really interesting, so I'm going to read a little bit of it. Not gonna lie, I'm happy for her, and this is not her fault at all, but I was coming to terms with my sexuality and the fact that I'm not femme during the height of her blog's popularity, and some of the content which was constantly shared by girls who were bullying me was some of the stuff that made me feel the most out of place. Again, this is not her fault, but the extreme feminized aesthetic of it was just like big for me and made me feel like I was failing at being a girl. I think saying literally any man or woman could laugh/relate to this blog here can feel a bit tone deaf when a lot of the posts focus on female friendships and have pictures of girls in what were femme fashions of the time, like super short neon cutoffs, given that I would regularly see girls in my class repost those on Facebook and tag 5 or 6 other girls being like, OMG us, and then cry because I was never invited to anything they did because I was a lesbian in baggy cargo shorts and flannel and no makeup instead of like them. So I couldn't relate to any of the posts about having close female friends or even really friends, and it was because of my sexuality and my gender presentation. I like this comment a lot because it articulates something that I really would have agreed with, I think, as a teenager. I felt very similarly. I knew of Just Girly Things, but I would never dream of unironically consuming that sort of content. To me, it was like this beacon of conformity, and I was like this weird queer little worm flopping around on the floor. It was just so completely anathema to me, and like, for me, realizing my queerness was very tied up with all of the other ways that I felt to not like other girls, and not liking Twilight or gross romance movies or anything like that. And you know, now I acknowledge there's a lot that's problematic with that. Now I love Twilight. But I think this experience of feeling alienated by Just Girly Things type content is very common, and I think this is why there was this kind of collective surprise and fascination and like, haha, we got Just Girly Things. And the more I think about it, honestly, just the dumber it all seems. Like, Just Girly Things looks like it's for straight people, but really, gay? Mind boggled. Like, as if queer experiences are not extremely diverse. My experience as a queer woman, the person who wrote this Reddit post, Becky's experience as a queer woman, they're all equally valid. They're all equally queer experiences. Okay, so I'm a trans girl, and when I was a kid, I was very, very deep in the closet. And your posts were a real comfort and a really big help in helping me embrace my femininity and who I really am. I look through your timeline every so often to remind myself how far I've come, and I can't thank you enough for helping make those days better. This was an ask sent more recently to the Just Girly Things blog, and Becky responded, "Thank you for sharing this with me. This makes me so happy. I'm so proud of you for embracing your true self. Messages like this make me so happy that I made this blog." She also told me, for a lot of my followers, they didn't agree with the whole Just Girly Things aspect. For me, I never meant for any of my posts to exclude anyone. In fact, any human can relate to most of my posts. They're just an assortment of requests that my followers would send and that I would make into posts. So there you go. Just Girly Things can't even really be called the work of one person. It's a community effort, and it's whatever you want it to be. The intention behind it was simply to celebrate things that people enjoyed, and it's just as capable of validating people as it is of making others feel self-conscious. And that, for now, is the story of Just Girly Things. Thank you so much for watching this video, my friends. If you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe. And don't forget, I'm a button salesman on the side. I have so many brain-dead Tumblr memes in stock right now, just for you. And with that, I'm gonna go get a salted caramel frappuccino.